It's September 1st, and you decided that you wanted to take up hunting this year. And what better way to start than for dove? Dove season is the official start of the upland and small game hunting seasons in fall. It's also a perfect time to start hunting for those of you who are new to the sport. In this video, I'll give you a couple pointers on how to be successful and how to be confident in yourself out there in the field. First thing you have to do is stop by your local sporting goods store. Hopefully you've already passed the hunter safety test and already possess a hunting license. You can also get really good tips from the guys working there. They're usually really good about starting new people off. Next, you'll need a shotgun. Now, whatever action you decide to shoot is completely up to you. This right here is a semi-automatic shotgun. It's got all the bells and whistles, fiber optic sights, Cerakoting, all of that. You don't need all of that for doves. In fact, I shoot a simple pump shotgun made in the 80s. You might find yourself using an older and traditional type like this break action side-by-side shotgun. They work well too. Doves are soft-bodied, they're easy to bring down. Now, whatever it is you decide to shoot, make sure you get plenty of practice with it before the season starts. I know I'm airing this about a day before season opens, but you don't want to be the guy who spends a whole box of shells for one bird. From there, let's talk about spots. Now, most likely you'll be hunting public land. And what I like to look for in public land is places where the Fish and Wildlife Service or Fish and Game, DNR, whatever your state agency is, has planted grain. They do this throughout the wildlife areas, and so a lot of these places are actually open to hunting. You just have to find out by calling your local DNR Fish and Wildlife Fish and Game office. The other place that I like to hunt here in the Central Valley are almond fields. We have a whole bunch of them here, and I like to set up near roost areas adjacent to these almond orchards where the doves will feed inside and come back to roost. These are high percentage spots. Whatever you do, make sure that you scout a couple days ahead of time just to see where the bird pathways are. You don't want to be just setting up for the first time in a field, never having been there. I mean, it'll work, but you'll have a much harder time. So let's look at our imaginary field here. This is a spot that's private land, but I'll show you kind of how I hunt it. Right here, the X's are where I suspect most roosting trees are gonna be. They are places where there are high trees next to open fields, safe from predators. The big X on the screen is basically where you as a hunter is concerned where the birds are gonna be coming from first thing in the morning. So that general direction, which is the east, is where the birds are gonna be flying out of. Now, next spot right here is these are the flight paths that I suspect most birds will be taking. The flight paths are actually a little bit obvious in that they are the areas at which the birds have to cross the least amount of open ground. Doves do not fly over open ground as much as they can because they are susceptible to predation by falcons and hawks. So in that, they have it internally built into them where they'll fly along the edges of trees as much as they can and cross the points which bring them closest to the orchard fields. Now, these circles here are essentially where the intercept points are, and this is where you want to set up. You want to set up where you have the highest amount of chance to see as many birds as possible because you will need as many chances as possible. So let's take away all the clutter and we'll see what happens here, and that way we can kind of see what we're going to be looking at. So take these away, and so those are our spots. Kind of, when you look at it, they're kind of obvious actually. Along tree lines as close as you can get to the orchards. The birds will be crossing them to try to move from roost to feed early in the morning. So if you have enough people, this is where you would hunt. If you don't have enough people, these would be my top picks as to where I would hunt. Corners of fields, as close as I could get to the feeding grounds where the birds will be crossing essentially all day, but especially heavily during the morning. So now it's opening day and you've come here first light. You got here, you set up, maybe you threw some tumbleweeds and made a makeshift blind. All the more power to you. Hopefully you're wearing earthen colors. You don't really need camel for dove. Depending on how many hunters there are, you might want to wear orange, depending on how many people are around you. So what you're gonna do is you just wait for the birds to come by. Once it's shooting light, get ready. it helps to have trained hunting dogs, but most likely you won't have any because you are a starter. You just started out. You can walk to your bird. When you do knock down a bird, keep your eye on that spot. Do not shoot another one until you've got that bird in hand. Losing doves is one of the most common things that happens out there. You will see it. You'll notice me sometimes in the blind, sometimes outside the blind, but my head's always on the swivel. The reason why I'm doing that is because this area for me to cover is actually quite large, so adjusting myself to where the birds are moving. But you'll see in a second, it doesn't really matter because the birds start coming in from all directions outside of my shotgun range. That's a double right there, 2 birds. Don't forget to enjoy the sunrise, you know. It's gonna get hectic out there and you're gonna be focused on birds, but it's really beautiful. It's gonna be a September morning. The sun's gonna be up, you're gonna be out of bed early. Man, just enjoy the whole thing. If you look closely on that dead branch, I've got a couple decoys set up. I've got their chests specifically facing the sun so that the birds coming in can see that bright white chest. Bird and dove decoys really do work. This is called a spinning wing decoy made by a couple different brands. Those help draw in birds a lot, as you see here. Got one set up behind me and the birds just come straight in. It works because the birds are still young. They're completely trying to find company. Also, hunting doves is a social sport. It's not like hunting deer where you're by yourself. Don't forget to bring your friends and family members. This is my dad. Hunt with your buddies. Find people. The easiest way to learn how to hunt is to find a mentor. Dove hunting is perfect for that. If you've got dogs, don't forget water for them. It's going to be hot. September is hot just about everywhere in the US. Speaking of hot, usually about 10 o'clock the flight starts getting lighter and lighter to the point where it's not worth it anymore, especially if you have dogs. Out here, it'll probably get up to 90 to 100 degrees by afternoon. Don't forget that heat is very dangerous to dogs. So once you're done, pick up your shells. It's very important to do so that we have opportunity to hunt more in the future. Now, cleaning doves is super easy. The feathers come off just with a wave of the fingers, really. So most people, especially new people who aren't so used to eating doves yet, what you're probably going to do is breast them. So easily what I'm showing you here is how to defeather it. You don't even need to go this far. You just take off all the feathers on the chest, then cut out the 2 large breasts. You can either fillet it out or you can just leave it bone in and take out the whole chest piece to cook with. That's all delicious meat. Now that you've got the dove breasts out, let's make a quick but good recipe. Get some canned jalapenos, and then next you'll need some cheese. Any kind is fine. I love cheddar, mozzarella. Get some bacon. I love thick cut bacon. What you're gonna do is you're gonna wrap up that cheese and jalapeno right onto the meat of the dove, so that when you bite down, you're gonna get everything. When you got all that going, and it's a little bit of a trick, but what you can do it, what you're gonna do then is wrap it all up with a piece of bacon. That's what these are, jalapeno poppers. You will love them. Use a toothpick or a half of a toothpick to go ahead and keep it all together. Usually a half is fine. Just break the 2 ends, stick it right in so that the bacon doesn't come off. You've got yourself a perfect set right there. Don't mind the quail. It was a training quail that we used for the pups. So we've got all of that set up in a cast iron pan. Throw it in the oven for as long as it takes to cook the bacon. Because remember, the doves can be eaten medium rare, just like a steak. So I go 450 degrees for as long as it takes to cook that bacon nice and crispy. That's it. Enjoy. Might be a little hot, but ooh, it does feel a little hot still. Okay. You can grab one. All right, let's see how they go. Make sure I take that toothpick out. On the side.
Oh, I'm gonna eat it with pretending it's its little legs and hold it like that.
Little legs? All right, let's go for it. Ooh, it's hot. Ooh, I'm gonna let it
cheese
sit.
is piping hot too.
I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit. I don't know if I can eat it like that. It's too hot, huh? Don't bring your tongue. Well, you got the cheese, a little bit of the bacon. All right. Well, she's able to do it. Let's do it. Oh, hot.
Don't bite too deep.
Should have kept the toothpicks in. Oh, that's good. Ooh, the seeded,
Spicy, cheesy.
the seeded jalapenos are a little spicy, but
I think it's perfect.
it is good. I think I'm gonna
If
need
you're not a pepper person, it's probably gonna be.
I think I'm gonna need a Pepto. I like spice, but I just can't digest it as well. Actually, a little overcooked.
Yeah.
I like it a little bit more red than this. Otherwise, not bad. The flavor's all there. Ooh, delicious.
Little livery, very, very faint.
God. Oh, it tastes really good, guys. Wow. I still need to make smell-o-vision. This is just not fair. It's not fair. I wish I could give you guys all a try at this, but Dove Poppers, everybody knows them, and the quail. So, we're gonna continue eating. See you on good fishing and good hunting.